everyone around you is like stressing about homeschool, and you're like, my kid is 3 or younger, or maybe has a developmental delay and is like they're 3 or younger, and you're like, for me, homeschool doesn't even cut it. But you don't want this time to go to waste. You're willing to do whatever it takes for your kid, but you don't have the training. You've come to the right place. My name is Julie Meyer, and I happen to know that you as a parent have powers far greater than any of us therapists or educators can ever have. Keep watching. Hello. And like I said, today's video is for if it's too much, and for many of us working with or who have for ourselves in our homes now all the time, most of us, very young children or children who are delayed, even adult children who are the functional level of maybe 3 years old or younger. It might be that it was all too much even before all of this happened, and that's very real. And maybe we were even, or you were even in a state of crisis even before the global crisis that we're experiencing. So the thought of carrying out an informal play assessment like I posted in the last video, or possibly some of these other tools that are coming up in future videos, are just not where you are right now. And again, like, that's real. And so I'd like to share with you another tool that I carry with me to all of my sessions with families. And actually I saw this until a little over a week ago. I was mostly spending my time working for the Baltimore City Infants and Toddlers program, and one day when I went to drop off my session notes for the previous month and pick up some forms for notes for the coming month, I saw this, and I'm going to post a copy of this below. It's called the Self-Care Wheel. Let me see if I can get closer. Self-Care Wheel. And if that wasn't a good shot, I will, of course, put a copy of it below, and you might want to go ahead and pause the video and print it out for this discussion. There's another document that I'm going to put together and link below this video that you might want to use as a worksheet for yourself working through this video. But this is a self-care wheel, and it's created by Olga Phoenix, by the Olga Phoenix Project, Healing for Social Change. It was created in 2013, and this is powerful for this time. It's dedicated to all trauma professionals worldwide. And this is something that I found helpful in working with families when the world isn't in a state of crisis, just when individuals are experiencing their own stresses and might need this before we can go any deeper into our work. It might be that this is where your work is right now, not in worrying about your child's development in an intensive sort of way, but realizing that taking care of yourself and how you're showing up for yourself and in your relationships and just in your day-to-day, that in itself has an important impact on your child's development. And maybe that's where your work is right now. And while focusing on this and not dropping it once you've gotten to a stable place, but continuing it, if we could realize that maintaining that in itself has an important impact on the development of your child, and then letting go of any stresses that you have in your child's other areas of development can help to strengthen you in this, and that in itself is important for helping to move your child forward. So what we're thinking about right now is self-care, which is always important, and you may have had something in place that's got knocked out of place by the current circumstances, or you might have been struggling even before all of this happened to all of us globally. And a lot of what I work on with parents, even before I get into like my speechy stuff or my developmental autism-y stuff is helping them to be present with themselves and in themselves, and often also in an important relationship, in order to be able to go forward in the work that we're going to be doing. So that's what we're focusing on today. Now, for a lot of us, we might be thinking that might be a distraction from what our responsibilities are towards our children. But a lot of times, if we're focusing on those responsibilities to our children and neglecting ourselves, the way that we're showing up with our children might even be sabotaging our efforts with them. It's not funny. I feel badly for this mother, but I think she posted it herself, so maybe she thought it was funny. I just saw online yesterday evening a little boy, I think he was 8 years old, writing a note that mommy was not a good homeschool teacher and she was not doing a good job and she needs to stop trying to teach him and get herself together. That would be an example of probably a mother that is very reasonably very stressed right now and probably does not have experience teaching, and was maybe getting frustrated with him in the situation, and in that case it was a little boy who was able to use his writing assignment to express this. Now, the children that we're talking about, a lot of them can't say, "This is too much for me, Mommy. Your too much is too much for me." So we could assess that for ourselves. And it might be that just hearing the word self-care is hitting the spot for you right now, like, oh yeah, I really need that. Or it might be that you're resisting it. If you're resisting the thought of self-care, that might mean that you need it even more than those of us who are able to realize it for ourselves. And I want to give an example of a family that I was working with. I worked with them for about a year, up until a few months ago. And in the initial assessment, this was from an RDI perspective, focusing specifically on the autism and not as deeply on the language or the speech per se, which my other training is in. And in the initial assessment, there was one activity that the father was supposed to sit with the little boy and look at pictures for a few minutes and just talk about the pictures. And a little over a year ago, that little boy was not able to just sit with his father and look at the pictures. He was standing up, he was spinning, he was giggling, he was running away from his father. When he finally did sit down, he started opening up the photo album and taking the pages out and touching them in a way that's not so good for pictures. And it turned out to be the ending assessment for now. The family has some other responsibilities they want to focus on at this time. But and what turned out to be the temporary or maybe ongoing final assessment for this family, in that same activity, they were sitting and enjoying looking at pictures, and I actually had to call time on them so that we could go on to the next activity, because the little boy was engaged with his father and discussing, and the family happened to share with me that over the ending final months of our time working together, the father and son were going weekly to a father-son learning program together that lasted, I think, about an hour, and involved reading in a different language and discussing the text together. And the little boy and his father were enjoying that on a weekly basis. And with this family, what we're about to present, what I'm about to share with you today, I think we had a few weeks that we were going to be not able to meet together at the end of the summer. They were going away for a while. I was going away for a while. It was going to be the first week of school, and the mother's a teacher, and my children were going back to school, and I'm working in a program that's run by the public school, so that's a startup time for me with work as well. So we had 3 weeks that were going to be apart. And so our final session before that 3 weeks was what I'm about to share with you now. And they really made the most of these activities, and it was not about engaging him. It was about finding their own center. And I really think for them personally and in their interactions with him, that was a real turning point that led to the results that I'm happy to have been able to just share with you now. So, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please click like and share with anybody you think can benefit from it. For more videos like this, please subscribe. To request a video on a topic that we haven't covered yet, go ahead and leave a comment down below and I'll see that, and if I get enough interest, I'll make a new video. Also, you don't have to do this alone. You could join the discussion in our private Facebook group, and the link is in the comment box down below. Or if you're interested in working with me personally, send me a PM on Facebook and we'll make a time to talk. In the meantime, use your powers and take care.